Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time, the big goodbye. Yeah, don't say goodbye to us, but listen to the big goodbye. We're going to talk about this was performed. This was recorded live at the 2019 West Grandview Fringe Festival. Yeah, right there at Jimmy V's. Speaking of Jimmy V's, go there. You can go there this Saturday and then get to Mad Lab, 5 o'clock. It's All Been Done Radio Hour is back, the mothership. It's like the old time serials, but with a modern take. There's even a show on there. It might have a little bit of kind of a Star Trek-y feel to it. So get those tickets, madlab.net. Get there, 5 o'clock, right? We're doing at 5, right? Still doing 5? Get there at 5. Check it out. Live. Mad Lab Theater. While you're there, while you're on the internet, getting those tickets from madlab.net, go to IABD Presents.com. Check out what everything else we got to offer. Also go to patreon.com/IABD and support us even more. We just want you to support us. Please do that and do not give us the big goodbye here. And that's what we're talking about, the big goodbye here on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. We've got the skeleton crew back.
This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome. And we are here live at West Grandview Fringe Festival.
All right. We got a couple people watching.
Guys, quiet down.
Yep.
We'll try to keep the crowd under control.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is going to be good. We wanted to bring a big episode for your annual live show.
Yeah, and did you say big because that's in the title of the episode?
No, I did not.
All right, well,
that would have been good.
Good. Well, more bad, but yeah.
We're talking the big goodbye. First impressions.
Listeners of this podcast know how I feel about let's go to another era that's on Earth and blah, blah, blah. And
Save money by reusing costumes?
Yeah. Actually, upon this rewatch from original series and everything, I've actually changed a little because I like Piece of Action more, Patterns of Force and whatever. Mm-hmm. Too many Earth-like planets, but
sure.
Again, this is a holodeck thing, but I think it's the same. It's the same concept,
yes.
To an extent.
They just decided not to make it so convoluted of going back in time every time.
Yeah, it makes the holodeck convoluted, and we'll get into that me, but.
I've got some notes on that too.
Yeah, maybe you can help me with it because that said, an engaging episode, fairly interesting, but I don't know that I didn't love it. I'll say.
I thought it was pretty much a shit episode. I did not enjoy it at all. Lots of plot holes, things not making sense. I thought the story was boring. I have fond memories of holodeck episodes, so maybe those are other ones. But this episode was. In my opinion, pretty crappy. Yeah,
there are a couple spots that I really liked, but I think they get marred by the whole holodeck. My issues with it. And I feel like that will get better. Do we blame that on the animated series since it started there?
They did introduce the holodeck on the animated series.
And I thought they probably did a better job, but it was animated. They could do whatever they wanted.
Honestly, I don't really remember that episode or just about any episode of the animated series. And I don't know if it's because I was drinking or because it was so bad or both, but...
That's fair.
Let's start at the beginning.
Sure.
Open with a first officer's log. That would have never happened in the original series.
Of course not.
I liked it. I liked hearing Riker.
Yeah, we only had Spock and Scotty when Kirk was missing or on the planet or something.
Well, especially because Riker wasn't in this episode a lot. It gave him something front and center from the beginning, which I liked.
Yeah, which may be why it wasn't that great an episode. Another reason. But
Another reason, because you didn't have enough Riker.
Yeah.
Then, so Picard and Troy are having a little meeting, and she's like, "Sir, I know you were super excited about the holodeck upgrade," which didn't make any sense to me. And then Picard was like, "Yeah, I can't spell. I'm bad at spelling," and I'm like, "That doesn't make sense to me."
It doesn't.
So it just felt like a very out of character scene with Picard and Troy.
I wonder if this is one of those where it was supposed to be written for somebody else or whatever, or it's just a way of shoehorning. I mean, they wanted to do a show set in noir.
You think they weren't going to use Patrick Stewart for this story?
I guess you had to, but yeah. It's a stretch to make the captain, to make Picard not be able to spell.
Yeah.
And that played into the whole having to do a precise greeting with the Paradon?
I don't know. The insect aliens. The insect aliens.
I felt like they kept pronouncing it differently.
I honestly didn't pay much attention. I did at the beginning, because I thought they were going to show up, and I was like, oh, that sounds like it'll be a cool alien species. And then we never see them. And so I was like, okay, I don't really care, because it's all about the holodeck, and it's not about them at all. It felt like they were a tacked on thing to give a little urgency of we got to get them out of the holodeck quick, or else they're going to blow us up.
Right.
But it just
it
didn't do it for me.
All the stuff about this, the Herodons, it has to be said a perfect way.
Perfect.
And then it has to come from the captain. But then they just talk back in not colloquial English, but just regular English. That makes sense. It was a very false reason for tension.
It was.
It was a very.
It felt like an
very
original
false.
series add-on.
Because my reaction was like, who needs the Herodons?
Yeah.
Herodons.
No, it was an original series.
Yeah.
Holdover.
Who needs them? Yeah, I was like, at no point did I hear why. They never. I don't. Unless I missed it, I didn't hear why. Oh, it's very crucial we have these people in the Federation. It's just like, nope. You just got to learn all this and.
No, it's like we tried it 20 years ago. They got upset because we mispronounced something. Now we're trying again every 20 years.
I didn't get it.
I don't know either. Yeah. So then we get to Picard goes down to run his holodeck program because he's like, I can't over prepare. I need to clear my brain. And he tells them, first of all, he starts out by saying 1941, San Francisco. Then he's like, open Dixon Hill, and I'm like, if he's already got Dixon Hill program, why does he have to specify the time period and city?
Right.
Wouldn't that be part of the included program?
Right.
I thought
that was
it was
for us.
Unnecessary exposition.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not.
There was
sure.
a lot of exposition about the holodeck in this episode.
There was.
Like, we expect none of you know what it is, even though we showed it in the pilot of the series.
I have this note. Why does Troy have a Dixon Hill file?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
He was such an amazing author. They all know about him. I guess.
It's a weird name too.
And apparently they don't have Halloween in the 24th century, because one of the characters when Picard goes in, they think he's in a costume because he's wearing a uniform, and they're like, "You're all ready for Halloween?" He's like, "Halloween."
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Why did Halloween not survive till the 21st century? I find that hard to believe.
I don't know if I want to live in a universe.
No. Do you think it was lost in the Third Nuclear War when all the population was killed off? Like maybe they didn't feel like celebrating at that time?
I don't know.
Or
maybe it was someone just not from a Halloween celebrating planet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do they celebrate Halloween all over the world? Help us out, audience.
I don't think so. So Ben Picard's in the holodeck for like 2 minutes, acting like he's never used it before, even though you'd think he probably has if he was excited about the upgrade. Unless he's one of those people that's like, nope, I'm waiting for version 5.0 before I try it.
Right, yeah,
Like he forgot that uniform. He was so impressed with the simplest thing.
Right.
We already saw the holodeck in the pilot.
Right.
Again.
Yeah, but I guess they're like, hey, just in case you didn't watch that, we're gonna fill you in.
Which feels like lazy procedural television writing. It doesn't feel like a serious story.
And I wrote this note too, and I may have forgotten why I wrote this. Full disclosure, I watched this in 2 parts. One, I was kind of drunk. The other, not. At some point, didn't they nail virtual reality? I feel like, shouldn't the TNG people have got this down?
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we know at this point holodecks have been around for like 100 years because of the animated series.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, I don't know. But even more ridiculous than how quick he was in the holodeck was the way he took over the staff meeting to talk about how cool it was. Like, they all haven't used the holodeck before.
Right.
Well, eventually he's like, hey, this means actually about this rendezvous we're going to have, but let me spend the first 5 minutes telling you about what I just did.
Is that the meeting Will's at? Mm-hmm. And why is he there?
I don't know.
He's what is his title? Not ensign, but it's...
Oh, I don't think Wesley's at that meeting. I think not Will.
Is he at the later one?
Yeah, I think after Picard's trapped.
Okay. Wesley, that's what I meant.
Then we get Picard talking to Beverly Crusher, and he's like, you should join me. And then he turns and like, and we should also bring Wayland. And her face, like, she thinks he's asking her out.
Yeah.
And she's super disappointed that he's C-blocking. I'm not going to cuss because it's a family podcast. But she, like, looks really upset. And this continues throughout the episode.
It does.
That she keeps wanting that alone time with the captain.
Right.
And gets upset every time somebody gets in her way.
I mean, we've talked about they have some kind of history and there's some tension there. But
because her husband was Picard's best friend. Mm-hmm. And she is, like, all up in his business now.
Did Picard really want to clear his mind so much that he needed to have sex with Crusher?
Well, no, I think Picard wasn't thinking that at all because he was like, bring this other guy.
But
Picard's into something more freaky.
Well, that thought crossed my mind too. But then later he gets
French.
Once they're in the holodeck, I guess maybe he's like, nothing matters here. No, this doesn't count. So I'm gonna get it right in your grill and talk about doing it, more or less.
I wondered why they made up this fictional Dixon Hill character instead of just using Sherlock Holmes.
Right, which is, yeah.
Because Data and Geordi talk about Sherlock Holmes here, and in future episodes, Data and Geordi will play Holmes and Watson in the holodeck programs. So why they're using Sherlock Holmes and they made up a Sherlock Holmes?
It was so Data could talk and Wise Guy talk.
Well, that was fun.
And I actually did enjoy that.
That was fun.
Data was
Brett Spiner was a gem in this episode.
Yeah, I did enjoy that.
I did notice that when we saw Dixon Hill titles listed on the computer screen, they were all written by Tracy Torme, who was the writer of this episode. So that confirmed for me that Dixon Hill is a completely fictional character.
So, and I guess this is where I got confused on the holodeck.
Okay.
In my mind, I thought it was you go in, and I know there's a program, but I thought the program reacted to your imagination.
No.
But it's just like any other.
So it uses a combination of projectors and replicators to replicate clothing and stuff, and mini attractor beams to like move things around and make things feel solid. Is the way it's been explained in other Star Trek.
Okay.
So it's a combination of those things, but the program itself has to be preloaded. It can't read your mind. Well, that's why it's confusing that if you have to specify a year and a place for Dixon Hill, because if you have a Dixon Hill program, if Dixon Hill takes place in San Francisco, it should load that.
And I think that's part of my confusion. And I'm like, well, if he's setting it up, then he's like, oh, I'm programming this right now. I guess in theory you could program it yourself.
You can, but I think it takes like engineer talent. I don't think Picard could have programmed it himself.
Well, and
that's why he's never used the holodeck. This is his favorite book, and he was waiting for somebody to make something worthy. He wasn't going to go walk in the woods.
I'm going way ahead into a completely different universe, perhaps. But the Orville, I think their holodeck was where somebody went in and changed the programming.
So yeah, somebody messed with the program.
Somebody else's. Yeah.
The
holodeck seems like bad news. Essentially, this episode is Westworld, Future World, for those of the 70s versions, for those of you who remember that. Because it's, we have this fun world, we can do whatever we want. Oh, what if things go wrong?
Yeah, the safety protocols malfunction.
Yeah,
and now you can be shot.
And now some teenager's going to fix it.
Bleed out.
Yeah.
Of course it's a teenager that's going to fix it. Yeah.
But
the holodeck's here to stay. Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, they all do holodeck episodes.
There cannot be a possibility where somebody actually gets shot by a real bullet in the play world.
If the safety protocols are taken off.
I get it, but
normally the protocols stay in place unless you purposely take them off.
But I would feel like there would be nowhere in the system where that's, like, even if you take all the safety protocols off, the worst that can happen is you bump your head. Nothing new can be introduced.
Well, I'm not going to spoil for you, but in an upcoming Star Trek film, some Picard purposely lures the enemies into the holodeck, turns off the safety protocol so that he can arm himself and shoot them with guns. So I guess it allows whoever to just turn them off if they want to turn them off. Although this was a malfunction, not a purposeful turning off.
IT security is terrible in the future, is what I'm hearing right now.
I mean, I guess they're not. It's like they don't leave their doors locked. They don't expect anybody to sabotage.
Yeah, all security is terrible in the future.
Internally on ship.
Yeah.
Wow. I did think, though, the effects of the holodeck were really good. The door in the hallway, we had to see both sides of the door, like from in the holodeck program down the hallway.
I thought they looked great.
It was really good.
I thought they looked really good. I made that note.
Special effects, A+ in this episode, even if the episode sucked.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they looked really good.
Especially for a 1980s television show.
And so maybe this explanation of the holodeck, I know I'm getting hung up on it, but the whole episode is a holodeck. So that explains why he could get lipstick, and that would carry into...
Yeah, because replicator, they would have replicated. Okay. They use a replicator.
So you get real sensations.
And if you eat a hamburger in the holodeck, you leave the holodeck, that hamburger's still in your stomach.
And so this suggests, and again, we're a family-friendly podcast, but the first holodeck was created for like a sex doll.
Oh, I mean, clearly that would have been the immediately spun off of the technology.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do wonder, though.
Which also means...
Do you replicate sperm and can you get pregnant from a holodeck?
That's where I was going kind of next,
which is... the safety protocols.
Exactly. If the safety protocols are on, you're fine. If they're not, you're probably coming out with chlamydia.
Probably.
I
mean, the real dangerous cadets of the academy, turn them off and see who they can sleep with.
Pardon my French, but Wesley's going to pick the dirtiest whore he can find when he gets a holodeck. He's coming back with he's probably dying if the safety controls are off.
I won't get into it, but in the next gen, we will see somebody that uses the holodeck for sex purposes. And it's a character we haven't met yet, but it's a reoccurring character that we'll see a bunch. Yeah. I mean, that's what I want the holodeck for. Is that what you want the holodeck for?
As with everything, porn and sex lead the way. So
Yeah.
every
I want the holodeck for porn
Yeah.
and so that I can fly the Enterprise.
Actually,
those are the 2 reasons I want the holodeck.
in fact, it'll start with porn and sex, and that's when they'll figure out, oh, we need safety controls on this.
Man, I hate to be the one person that fell victim to those tentacles. Where's Marianne when we need her?
Well, she'll have to get in touch.
I'm sure Marianne would make good use of holodeck tentacles. So then they mention a 2026 shortstop for the London Kings. So they mentioned baseball is going to last at least another 7 years past right now.
Apparently, yeah.
The 2026 London Kings.
Yeah.
Crusher tripped on the stairs coming in her heels. I thought that was such a nice natural
Oh,
moment
yeah.
in the police
Because
station.
she probably wouldn't be used to.
Right. They don't wear heels in the 24th century.
And while we're here on fashion, fashion. This isn't even a fashion thing, I guess. I guess it's just Gates McFadden. Wow, she looked. Maybe that's why they did the episode, because she looked amazing.
She
Yeah,
absolutely did.
she looked.
I mean, I like her in the lab coat, but I liked her in this too.
Oh, she was amazing. So I don't blame Picard for being like, screw it, let's do this.
I'm sure the costumes were just laying around from other productions, but
Yeah.
I think the costumes were great in this episode. And they actually won an Emmy for outstanding costumes for this episode.
Really?
Bill Thies was still doing
Oh,
it
of
from the
course,
original
yeah.
series. They were also nominated for outstanding cinematography for this episode.
Really?
Did not win that
Oh.
one. This episode did win a Peabody, the only Star Trek episode to win a Peabody, for a new standard of quality for first-run syndication.
This episode.
This episode.
Interesting.
I think maybe the imaginativeness of the holodeck or whatever.
I'll say it looked great.
It did look great. I don't think it deserved a Peabody.
No. There is a meeting Wesley's at. I think it's like, how do we fix this holodeck thing in the
Yeah,
air?
and then he shows up and he's
Why
like,
is
fix it.
he's sitting on the end? But I guess he's there so for the plot device of, oh, the kid can fix it.
Well, I think, as an acting ensign, he's going to be...
Acting ensign, that's it.
He's going to be involved in some meetings and some duties.
I guess so.
He has bridge shifts that he has to work.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So he's just the engineer in the house.
I guess-
We know the chief engineer never comes up to the bridge.
I guess he's the random person we would have seen in an original series episode, but we just actually know this kid and
Yeah, and he
recognize him.
sticks
So I
around.
guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Did you like Waylon, the historian?
I did. I was bummed he got killed, and I wonder if he's back for any more episodes.
Well, he didn't get killed.
No, he didn't get killed, but he got shot.
He got shot. I don't remember seeing him again, so I don't think so. His name is David Selberg. I'm working off my phone, so I don't have as accurate a
He looked
episode of.
he looked really familiar, but he looked like
IABD.
Ty Burrell to me. So.
He does guest star in Star Trek Enterprise as a Vulcan captain in one
Okay.
episode.
Alright.
Scrolling through IMDb now. He guest stars in an episode of Voyager as a different character.
All right. So he's
And he's in a second episode of Next Gen, but it's a different character name.
Cool.
So he's just one of those people that hang around Star Trek.
Well, that's a bummer he won't be back, but I feel like anytime a specialist shows up, a geologist, a historian, Khan's wife, whoever, they're there one episode and they're gone.
I felt like it was a cheap shove-in that they just didn't want to shoot a main character.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like they were worried it wouldn't create the tension you wanted, because you knew that main character wasn't going to die.
Right. I guess
Even
that
though
makes-
they're
that
gonna
makes
kill a main
sense.
character here soon anyway.
That makes sense.
But it did feel very forced in. I actually
No, that's
liked,
fair.
I liked most of the guest actors. Harvey Jason was Felix. Lawrence Tierney was Cyrus Redblock.
So, and I meant to do more research on this, but
Harvey Jason was in The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Pet Sematary.
Lawrence Tierney
Reservoir Dogs, Born to Kill.
is most well.
Junior.
What?
He was in the movie.
Lawrence
Junior.
Tierney.
Yes.
For me, his most famous role is he is Elaine Bennis's dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he, we're talking about Red Block, right? That's Red Block
Yes.
played. Yeah. I think he played he played a tough guy in a lot of movies and in TV shows. But apparently on the Seinfeld set, he was. So in the episode, if you guys don't remember, it's when Jerry and George, they're meeting Elaine, but she and her dad, and Elaine doesn't show up, so they have to hang out with her dad, who was I can't remember. I think he worked for the CIA or he was a spy or something. And he's a real tough guy and has a gun. And he doesn't like Jerry wearing his suede coat and all this stuff. And so they feel real uncomfortable. And it turns out, I guess, he was just an a-hole on set.
Oh.
And they did not like him. So that's probably one reason you never saw Elaine's dad ever again.
Huh.
Yeah. Although they could have just changed it. They changed Jerry's dad, so.
The other guest star I want to bring up is Dick Miller, who played the newspaper vendor. He's been in tons of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Terminator,
yeah.
Gremlins,
Oh,
The
yeah.
Burbs,
Yeah.
are the top things on
Great
the
character actor.
I mean, he's got 182 credits up until recently. So he's still, I don't know if he's still alive, but he's got a lot. Oh, no, he did. He died earlier this year at the age of 90.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely recognized him. He looked familiar.
It's
not often that Star Trek throws in a recognizable guest actor like that.
Yeah.
Especially in such a small role.
The rest of the Seinfeld part of this podcast is when Picard pretends to smoke or says, "Yeah, I'll try to smoke,"
and then coughs on it.
Yeah, it's George when Elaine tells him, "Well," he's like, "Well, how would you get rid of somebody?" He's like, "If he started smoking, I dumped the guy." He's like, "Oh yeah," so he tries to smoke for Susan. And she's like, "No, I don't like this." And he's like, "Well, I can't stop now." So I see that meme about 10 times a week in my Seinfeld Facebook group. So that's all I can think about. Even as he lit it, I'm like, he's going to start coughing like George on Seinfeld.
Sure.
So, and he did. Which actually,
I guess with the holodeck safety protocols, though, it wouldn't get any tar in his lungs.
Although actually, my timeline's off. So actually, Seinfeld could have borrowed that from this. Because
yes.
the Seinfeld episode was 94. Yeah, it was much later.
So everything
and
Star Trek.
And we all know Jason Alexander, huge Star Trek fan.
True.
So there's a good chance he could have borrowed from this.
You had mentioned how good...
We won't know until he gets on the show.
Right. Jason Alexander, going to be at West Grandview Fringe Fest next year?
I hope so. We'll do another new episode of Seinfeld.
Absolutely. And he can play George.
Yeah.
If he wants.
Yeah.
He can play somebody else if we... we talked about how good Brent Spiner was in this episode. Of particular note, I loved when he brought the lamp over.
Yeah.
And realized why it went off.
That was another good bit.
And then Picard very nonchalantly plugs it in, and he still doesn't realize why it comes back on.
Yeah. I thought that was a good comedic bit. I thought all Spiner's comedic bits were funny. I thought...
You can easily see why Data broke out in this cast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you see why, there are a lot of really cool elements in the show, in this episode, I should say. But the overarching thing isn't that great.
No.
But there are some really great moments, and that's one of them.
It made me really excited to actually get to Data and Geordi as Sherlock Holmes and Watson in the holodeck.
Well, and I didn't think I would fall for Data as quickly as I have, but I love it. I mean, I love everything he's doing.
Yeah, I'm so glad they're bringing him back for Star Trek Picard, even though he's dead, because you have to. Spoiler!
This is going back to maybe a couple episodes, or maybe the opening. I think you talked about it maybe a couple episodes. The score for this is, I mean, it's the Star Trek The Motion Picture score, but it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so, it's...
The Next Gen has amazing music.
Like, Wrath of Khan is the perfect score.
Yes.
But this theme is...
Again,
it's hard to say, because the TV, obviously, Alexander Courage is amazing, but this is so perfect, I guess, for everything going forward, I guess.
They released so many records of Next Generation soundtracks.
Yeah.
You could buy a ton of the music.
So, just a side note, but this note was written the next morning when I was sober. So, that shows you how good it was.
A moment that really bothered me is Crusher's working on Wayland after he gets shot, and Red Block enters, and, you think a doctor, focus on your work. Keep working on the guy. She immediately just stands up and looks at him. And I get, if they hold a gun on her and tell her to stand up, but they don't. She just stops, okay, he's going to bleed out because I have to stand up and look.
Well, maybe she was refusing to believe that the safety controls have been taken off.
I think at this point it was pretty obvious that they've been taken off.
She's a Dane. What are you going to do?
Something about the holodeck that doesn't make sense at all is how the characters are able to go on the hallway and then slowly dissolve. Yeah. They should disappear at the doorway.
Well, and that gets into, we have that conversation at the end, which I really love, between Picard and the cop.
Yes.
Which I thought was great and was very...
I liked the guy who played the cop.
Yeah, I did too. And I feel like he's been in other stuff.
What was his name? Was it, there's a couple of, Lieutenant McNary or Lieutenant Bell? Or Desk Sergeant? There's 3 different...
He wasn't the desk sergeant. I think he was on lieutenants. I feel it. Oh, yeah, he was on lieutenants. The young.
Was it William Boyette, Dan Bell?
I think so. No, that was the older one. Nope.
That was the older one. So it had to be Gary and Armageddon.
I think so. He looks older now. So do I.
He's been in the Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., 3 Fugitives, Simon and Simon.
And the conversation he has with... I think that's it. The conversation he has with Picard about, are my wife and kids going to be there and all that stuff.
That was moving.
And I thought it was great. Yeah, that was such a good conversation, and it got very into. I mean, that's Matrix. That's
my alternate episode. Where you get to see him go home to his family, and Watch
Well,
them
I
resolve.
wonder. I did not remember this episode. I wondered if that is where it went. Because Black Mirror, the Star Trek episode of Black Mirror was very much that.
The USS Cal.
Yeah, there's a world there,
Yeah.
even though it's a simulated world, and they're just facsimiles of somebody in the real world.
So in Star Trek, when you turn off the program, those characters don't stay aware.
Right. Okay. But that's what. But in this conversation,
Which
it's
they
like-
didn't make clear here.
Well,
We'll learn that later.
so does Picard say I don't know because he doesn't want to tell him the truth, or he just doesn't actually know?
Well, because Picard acts like he doesn't know anything in this episode about that kind of
That's
technology.
true. Maybe he doesn't.
He should know. He should know.
But
But I guess they get into the whole thing of like what makes a soul, and even though the program
I still
shut
think-
off, do they have any?
I still think it could be an open-ended question for that.
So Deep Space Nine, there is a regular holodeck character who reoccurs a bunch.
Okay.
And they like reserve a holodeck and leave him on full time so that he can live,
Okay.
keep going.
All right.
So that seems to me to point to, at some point they have to figure out that when things shut off, they shut off.
So we're all living in the Matrix. We know this. We're all living in a
Sure.
computer simulation. So
Sure.
have we not been turned off yet, or
No, not yet.
this is like the millionth
They
time?
actually only turned us on 5 minutes ago.
Or
You just have memories before that.
That's what. Or is this the millionth time we've been turned on again? And then, I mean, Nietzsche was right. We live the same life
I've
over and
probably
over
been-
again.
I've probably been turned on a million times. How about you?
Well, that's a different thing altogether. It reminds me of my favorite Woody Allen joke. I know we've canceled him, but I'm going to say it anyway. From not Crimes and Misdemeanors. I think it's Hannah and Her Sisters, where it's Nietzsche says we're doomed to live the same life over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
That means I'll have to sit through the ice capades again. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
although I never saw it, but apparently he did. One more thing before we completely leave the holodeck. Both things. Those holodeck doors and the Herada, what's the tequila? Herradura? I'm just making up different names for it. Both those things were very, very phallic. Yeah. This whole episode was sexually charged. Even the doors were turned on.
Well, I mean, you get in the 1940s Private Eye, and there's a sultriness that just
They called them dicks for a reason.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
called them dicks for a reason.
Absolutely. I thought it was interesting. This is The Big Goodbye. I looked it up. That is the same Dixon Hill book they go into in the movie Star Trek First Contact. They go
Oh,
into
really?
different chapters so we don't see the same characters.
Which is, I think, is a takeoff on the. Who wrote Philip Marlowe? Help me out. Who wrote Philip Marlowe? Was it Mike Hammer? Not Mike Hammer. Mike Hammer's a. Dashiell Hammett? Is that who wrote?
It was Dashiell.
Dashiell Hammett. So the film was The Long Goodbye. That was one of the Robert Altman versions, and Elliot Gould played Philip Marlowe.
The
but
Big
very
Sleep was his first.
Yeah. He played Philip Marlowe, but in a very Elliot Gould in the 70s way and in a very Robert Altman way, and people did not care for it. But I think it's definitely it's related to that. And then I think somebody actually says it.
Yeah, as they're getting ready to leave.
I was
they
very
have that
excited.
conversation.
Yeah, I can't.
Where's Keith when we need it?
Was it Picard that says it?
I can't remember if it was Picard or the lieutenant, but it was
Says
in that
this
conversation.
is the big goodbye, which
Yeah.
is actually really good. It's a
I think it had to be the lieutenant, because didn't he ask, like, is this the big goodbye? I think it had to be the cop.
I think you're right. All that I said earlier about these stupid Herodins,
Yeah.
and wanting the greeting perfect. Still watching Patrick Stewart do it I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was weird, but he did well.
Even in some weird tongue of people that change their names constantly. And maybe that's what the Herodians do, the Herculeans do.
I thought it was a good moment, though.
He still said it like a Shakespearean actor.
Of course.
He enunciated perfectly, even though I don't know that language.
Of course.
He nailed it.
Then Dana makes some comment about a hard rain at the end there. There is actually a novel. It's another Dixon Hill novel. Next Generation Adventure of Picard goes
Sure.
back to Dixon Hill. It's called A Hard Rain. So you know
Okay.
they took it from this episode.
All right.
They must have.
Which still sounds like, or maybe it's just, it rains in all noir things. Those are all my notes, I think.
So Tracy Torme also wrote the episode right before this, Haven. Which one did you like better?
Haven was...
It was. I find it really hard to compare the two right now.
It is.
Even though we definitely do these in order, and we've definitely watched
It
it.
is.
Even though we haven't watched it, we've definitely seen it.
That's the thing about these Torme episodes. They all
they're-
meld together.
They're just hard to. Maybe we'll go back in time last week and compare the two.
Mel Torme was the Velvet Fog, and that's very much the way Tracy Torme writes. It puts me in a fog.
What's your alternate episode?
I had two. One is a futuristic, much better holodeck, where we don't have these issues. The other is essentially futuristic holodecks or Skinemax, which I guess we already covered.
Yeah, that's...
Because this...
Dr. Crusher goes in
And
there.
I'll say this, all the holodeck scenes, especially his office and everything, are filmed like Skinemax movies, the late 80s, early 90s. It's the same lighting and everything, which is probably why it won a Peabody. But it's very similar lighting, which it all makes sense now.
So Wesley annoyance factor, a scale of 1 to 10. How annoying was Wesley in this episode?
I went with 3, just because I was really annoyed about him being at that meeting. And something he said when he was trying to fix the... He was like, he was all nervous with the thing, but he was the first person to be like, I got to do this. And then he's like, I'm not sure I can do it, or whatever he said.
I'm going to give him a 2. I didn't think he was very...
He didn't drive me crazy.
I didn't think he was annoying.
Oh, I did have one more note, and I just couldn't read it till now. I thought the one interesting thing about the Heridans was the insect mine concept. That part was interesting.
Yeah.
There's a full length I want to do someday as an O.G.P show, actually, called Whimper, and it's actually, it could be called The Big Goodbye, because is it T.S. Eliot that wrote The World Ends with a Whimper, Not a Bang?
Yeah.
It's T.S. Eliot, yeah. So. Yeah. So it starts with that as its intro, but the first thing that happens is the lead character on stage is just watching TV, and then he all of a sudden gets up very mechanically, and then he explains to you that he's been taken over by insects from the future. He is being run by 700 million insects from the future who have taken over the planet, and they've learned and evolved in that time, and they've come back to do all this stuff.
Reminds me of Men in Black when the thing comes out.
Yeah. Except I just loved it, and it was an insect mine. There were 700 million, but they were able to do one thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did like that. That's the one thing I liked about the Heridans.
So who was your annoying character this episode?
The Heridans.
The Heridans?
Yeah.
I hate to say this, and I don't think I'll ever say it again, but it was Picard. He did not know a lot of things he should have known.
He was weird. Not in a good way.
No.
He was like not himself.
I don't think it was Patrick Stewart's fault, but Picard greatly annoyed me.
Yeah, it was, and we've talked about this concept since original series, and I still don't like the term. We need to come up with a better term for it, but it's
sure.
And it was character rape. It was like he's doing a bunch of things that aren't normal for him.
Yeah.
And I think it made it hard for Patrick Stewart, and he did a decent job. Like some of the spots that were great, but the some of the stuff, yeah, just I agree.
Men, Women of Star Trek, did it change this week for you? Either of those blondes catch your
No,
fancy?
they did, but I couldn't really. There was a girl at the very top, and then I wrote doll in court because I was trying to get in the lingo of the era. But no, neither one of them overtake. Who is my girl right now?
Well, I don't know. We haven't done Haven.
Oh, that's right.
But it was a Klingon woman from Hide and Q.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us.
Yeah.
Nobody beats the Klingon woman.
No, I'm sticking with her.
Worf's imaginary wife. So where do we want to rank this episode?
Probably somewhere near Haven.
Somewhere near Haven?
Yeah.
We're breaking the magic. Let's start with the last episode we actually did watch, Hide and Q. Better or worse?
Probably not as good.
I agree.
Yeah.
It goes below that.
Yeah.
Lonely Among Us.
And that was was that the Traveler? No.
That was the energy field, and then the lizards and the dog creatures are trying to kill each other. The energy cloud.
I'd probably still go below.
I'm comfortable with putting it below.
Yeah.
But right below that's Code of Honor.
And that's
our bottom right now. Code of Honor was
Justice
had to fight.
We ranked Justice higher. Code of Honor is the joke.
Yeah.
This is above Code of Honor.
This is above. I agree.
Yeah, it had some things.
So we'll put it just above Code of Honor.
Yeah.
So next week we will be talking Data lore. We're going to meet Data's brother, Lore.
Huh. Okay.
An earlier iteration.
Data lore.
Data lore, it's one word. The Enterprise visits the planet where Data was created and discovers another android like him. But when he's assembled, he's not exactly like him. And Brett Spiner does play the brother. Not with a mustache. He doesn't pull a Shatner.
I guess we can get into this 20 years from now when we get to the Orville, but is Isaac a better version of Data?
I don't know that I'd say better, but
Yeah.
he's a different version.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they went a different direction. I really like the character of Isaac.
I do too.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, we will cover the Orville, even though it's not official Star Trek.
Yeah, you can watch it now, but you'll want to rewatch it probably by the time we get to it in 2039.
2000s. I don't think it'll be 20 years. We'll see. Okay, so until then, live long.
Stay out of holodecks.
As long as your safety protocol's on, you're okay.
Stay out of holodecks.
Steven, the porn.
Oh, all right. You know what?
It's worth the risk.
Take a condom and prosper.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?